I don't.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Oh, last time we were here.
We just
Yes,
played a
last time we were playing. Last time we did a one shot, it was
No, we thought you were sick.
a thing happened.
No, wait,
No, not my bag.
I thought you guys just assumed my character was sleeping the whole time.
No, it was we did a reality TV show in a dystopian near future environment.
In a Barbie hotel. It was really fun. I was
neon green.
I was what's it called? A cyborg that started breaking down on the floor because he was scared.
Wonderful.
I played a kindergarten teacher that shows extreme sass.
She slapped me.
Oh, I have that ding dong thing that Miss
Why do you do that?
Oh.
that ding dong thing that Miss Mattis.
I don't think he's gone into the office very much.
He was just right here.
Mama lead.
Give me attention. Literally every animal once.
Okay, so what do you recall from the last time that we gathered when our heroes were heroing?
Water. No, wait.
I remember.
Please.
I remember.
What do you remember?
So basically they were told not to tell the I'll give it back. To tell the big scary
I
guy
got that. For you.
that the person the people on the water ship were missing.
Uh-huh.
And then we found some ruins.
And then we found some ruins. Yes,
They
Ham.
also did not step on their chickens because they had no said chickens.
What is with the chicken thing? I don't get it. Where was it from? Where's it from? I don't
The
get it.
previous thing where he said, you come from the Scow village, and I was like, can we step on their chickens?
I don't remember you trying to not step on their chickens. I guess I don't remember that part.
Oh, Maddie, look at my merch. It's Mean Girl.
Coolio.
I think we saw it on the
Coolio.
video.
I showed it to you, but you just texted, huh?
I did. It was very loud.
It was so staticky. I tried to watch it during my lunch break. I
I did
and I
not
was
put
like,
a
I can't even
question
hear
mark, so
anything.
that does not mean huh. I meant huh.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
In any case, the most recent one was when you guys had found the ruins.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go around the table.
Question mark.
There's ruins off in the distance.
Yeah!
That's what you're going to say.
One of your bugs is southern. It's took over the entire thing.
What is the first thing that just jumps out at you when you see the ruins? Like, what is the first?
What about jump out of me, not out at me? What about out of me?
No. What is the first thing that jumps out at you when you see the ruins? Like the first visual.
Are they like
I guess-
natural ruins, or are they like a house that fell down?
Purple.
Why do you think I'm asking you these questions? I want to know what the first thing is that jumps out at you.
It's purple!
Why would it be?
It's purple.
It's
Are you
purple.
like this in class? Do you just shout out random crap when other people are politely raising their hands?
The one time in Mr. Lesher's class when he was like, "What do you guys want to be when you grow up?" and you just went, "Rocks."
Yeah, and he was like,
And you were like, "Geologist." We were like, "Yeah, but you said rock."
I didn't.
Anyway.
I was my brain.
I
was
want to be
fried.
rocks when I grow up.
My brain was really fried then and there, so I just yelled out rock instead of rock scientist.
Everybody else had their hands up, like, hey, I want to be
you're
like
shouting.
this. I want to be that. So it was just
Rocks! It's purple.
Amelia.
It's very covered in vines and plants and stuff.
Okay, is it okay, keep going. What's the first thing that you see? Or first thing you notice? The thing
It seems to be like something that was supposed to be there, but it didn't quite work out, so no one ever finished it.
I'm not very observant.
so covered in vines and stuff.
It seems like it's been there, like supposed to be there, but like just sat there for a while, not.
So it's been
whatever.
abandoned for a while, or it was never finished.
Never finished, if that makes sense. Like when you halfway build a tower or something, and then you realize, wow, this looks awful. And you
Has it fallen back down? Was it completed and it fell back apart, or was it never built all the way?
just never done.
That's the impression that you have, is that it was never finished all the way. Interesting.
No. Yes, but then there's it looks like it's kind of hard to see, but there's this. I don't know how to say it in words. You know how when brain wings are trying to like figure out if they're family or not,
Yeah,
and
where they spit acid at each other.
No, they spit on a leaf.
Yeah, but like some of them are really bad at it because they're children.
But
Yeah.
When red ants?
Rainwings from. It's a series called Wings of Fire. Me and Michael.
Oh, okay, okay, sure, yeah.
And there's this type of dragon that they just pool their eggs in one place. They don't know who's related, who's not related. They're all raised together. So if they want to mate, they would take a leaf and they would spit this like death venom thing they have out of their teeth onto the same leaf at the same time. And if it cancels each other out, then they're
relatives.
their relatives. It just burns faster than they can mate, and they're not relatives.
So, if you look at some of the leaves on the vines, which by the way, the leaves are like kind of big. They're like kind of big.
They're like elephant ears.
No, like the kind of leaves that we found in Canada when we went to go see Kate.
Okay, but I'm gonna make them really big.
Okay. You can see that it kind of looks like there's burning acid poison.
Don't do the accent.
Crescent?
Don't do the accent right now. You
Crescent?
kind of see that they're what?
Preserving?
Preserving. They kind of look like they've been burned with preserving.
Interesting. Okay. All right. There's a frog. No.
There's a lot.
No,
Burning acid poison
I don't know
frog.
why I thought that's what you were.
It looks
He's just
like
jumping on everything and burning holes.
maybe a Leviathan like trampled into it.
So there's like a trail
We
of
don't want to fight another.
there's like a trail of destruction through it or something.
Yeah, like by some monster. Doesn't have
Maybe
to
it
be
was the squirrel. Maybe we can see the squirrel
I
again.
don't want to see the squirrel again.
That's
good. Don't you drive us into danger again. Zoe's not allowed.
Zoe's no longer allowed in the captain's room.
Yeah. Like
She's
the
just
monster
allowed in the suggestion booth. Just as dangerous.
Trampled it.
Whose water bottle is that?
That's mine.
Okay. I didn't think it was yours because your can is also there, so I was confused.
I have double.
I too have done things like
Multi-drink.
Once he
that. No, it's fine. Okay, who's steering?
me.
No! You are banned from that privilege.
Are you going closer?
I never get to steer anymore.
Exactly.
Our ship is like
That is 90% of the point.
examines them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
By the thing of our ship, we're gonna go closer to it.
the ship is if I remember right, I gotta go
Roly
look now.
poly.
I have to go look.
He
It's a key.
He
Chips are for
has
Captain Ruby.
salvaging as its
You're not in the cup.
like motif.
I'm allowed in there.
It's got a salvaging motif. So you guys ever seen a weeping willow? You know what I'm talking about?
From Harry Potter.
No, that's the Wampa.
That's
Oh,
the
the
whopping willow.
one.
The actual tree in real life, or is it from?
No,
It's a type of tree.
He's never existed.
It's where they sort of have like
Yeah,
all
it's like
trailing-
a dome.
There's one by Abby's used to be house.
they hang down.
Yeah, it used to be. It looks like a mushroom.
It's not. Yeah, it does. We used to call it the scary tree of death when
We call it the
because we thought it
mushroom
looked really scary when it was dead because it had like holes in it.
Well, and it has like all these trailing
Yeah.
branches hanging down.
Really pretty when it's alive.
So this is a type of the tree that this ruin is built
Is this a tree?
around or near next to is a large. It's not quite a tall shank, but it stands up higher than the surrounding trees, so that the ruins kind of lie up under the tree itself, and the vines and all the twining stuff that is wrapped around the ruin is also a vine that's up and around the willow tree itself. So the branches hang down, those long trailing branches hang down, but there's also vines wrapped around those branches, and those vines have wound around a spit, which is a chunk of earth that these
Daddy's home.
the remnants of these
Imagine if it actually was though.
buildings are on.
That'd be kind of funky.
You see your dead parents above you.
Mom.
Although you know.
Just looks up.
How would I
Hey,
see them
Mom.
if they're dead? Makes no sense.
Like
Rotting?
they're sitting there, like they're rotting, like they're rotting.
I wouldn't recognize them if they're raw.
Like you can still recognize their faces.
They're rotting, their faces go all schmibbly flip.
Yeah, but they're not
Nibbly
the point of rotting where it's like really bad, but you can't. You can
Why are
still
you trying to traumatize her?
Because
Hey, Mom.
Hey, I don't want the mire where all the explosives go off.
you don't have to choose that one. Nah.
Last time Asa chose it. Last time Asa chose it.
What? Will you let Asa chose it?
Yes.
Chose what?
I have no grammar.
Me chose what?
You chose what?
I'm putting my stuff down. Take
Okay.
up space.
All right. Oh, I forgot to hand out the character sheets. I should probably do that.
Hey,
I
Mom.
wanted them to see
Dad,
scavengers. We can scavenger the ruins.
Scavenger the ruins.
Scavenger the ruins.
Before our mask campaign and
Yes,
after
they do.
this one,
I
I want to play Forbidden Desert with everybody.
What's a forbidden desert?
It's a sort of a board game
Why would it go there if it's forbidden?
because there's
Why
special
is it called
archaeological treasures.
Why are you looking so deep into this? It's a board game where you die.
Because I read street signs. If it's
That sign can't stop me because I can't read.
Too bad I can't read.
that's a meme from that show. It was like the Arthur the aardvark, but he did not look like an aardvark. He was just like a weird brown.
Wait, Maddie, what was that show that you told me to watch on YouTube?
Okay.
The Neo Paradigm.
Oh, Charlie,
Charlie the
Magic
Unicorn? Charlie the Unicorn. I think it's just Charlie the Unicorn.
Scavenge.
Oh yeah, it is
Like
Charlie.
18 years old, but it's a piece of internet archive
It's
history.
amazing.
So yeah, I want
Anyway,
that show, that series is older than all of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of older than all of you combined. I think I watched that when I was in college.
yeah.
Not long after college, at least.
The finale is everybody dies and they're all flesh puppets.
All right. So as you guys get closer, you can see that basically this town, well, town is kind of stretching it. This small settlement of half dozen or more buildings is literally on a chunk of ground that is hanging from the branches of this tree, because the vines come down and they wrap around and grow into this thing, and it's just kind of sitting there wrapped up in the branches of this tree as it hangs down. You can still get close to it because again, there's other trees near it, so you can pull up close to it and dock at it. That's kind of, it'd be interesting to live in because it would always be in shade, like almost all the time, except for like sunset and sunrise and stuff like that, because it's up underneath these branches. What do? You don't see any people. I mean, it's a ruin. I mean, you said it was a ruin, so I'm gonna assume there's no people. But yeah, there's not really any. There doesn't seem to be any activity.
There's a Gal settlement with chickens.
No Gow settlement with chickens. I don't remember there being chickens.
Why do you
Step on their frogs.
Why would I do that?
Why would you step on the chicken?
Because chickens.
So so as Keith kind of comes up alongside this thing and comes up to where you would probably pull up and dock, what do you do, Anthony? Do you have salvage?
I have scavenge.
Scavenge, sorry.
I do want to.
Well, you can go explore through the town. Yeah. Okay. It's pretty easy to get over to the other side. You don't really even have to tie up or anything like that. The dock is long since rotted where a ship would pull up alongside, but it's very easy to swing across with you're wave walking. You don't really need to do that.
I
Although
do
you,
wave walking.
Let's cry.
okay. The leaves, like I said, are probably each leaf that's hanging down off of this at the branches. The weeping willow leaves are like sort of long and narrow, and they're not that big. Although the tree is pretty big, so the leaves are reasonably sized. But the vine leaves, the leaves that come up from, you guys ever seen the vines that a bunch of people have them? If you have anybody who has plants in the house, they probably have the vines with kind of the heart-shaped green leaves.
Yeah, I have those on my.
Everybody has those. So I think it's super common, right? I want you to imagine that, but each one of the leaves is like big enough to shade this half of the room, like, or at least like shade this table. Like each one of the leaves is like Enormous. Okay. But those are the ones that have the holes kind of burned through them. You know, like if you don't water it properly or something like that, you get these weird kind of burned brown gaps. Except in this case, the brown gaps are kind of reddish brown. And they seem kind of damp and oozy, the holes in the
Hold on,
leaves.
can I try to find an
Don't
image?
go on your
I said frog.
What's that?
Can I try to find an image
Can you try to find an image?
of like the leaves?
Just go up and ask Mom what kind of vine that is that she has. That like the one that's up by your and Sean's room. That's up in the shelf. Just ask her what it's called. We'll look at it here. Swing across and look around or anything. What are you doing? What's most interesting to you? The buildings, the plants.
Like,
If you're scavenging the buildings, the
probably
plants.
buildings.
So do you cook?
I do. I have cooked too.
Okay. So you could theoretically like do scavenge to grab stuff to put in soup pots or go through buildings to see what has been left here. There are some buildings. It looks like a small town. It looks like a small like outpost kind of thing.
Good goal.
Nowhere near the size of Port Ames, and it's probably about a day's travel away from Port Ames. So theoretically, when this thing was standing, and the buildings are still somewhat intact, so
So this might have been recent.
when you say that there was building, the ones that you noticed that weren't complete are on the outside edge of it. So it kind of look like when you can see, you get up close enough, you can see further into the town. And the buildings towards the center are older and are done. The ones out on the edges are further on the edge, not like edges, but the ones that are further out, the closer you get to the edge, the newer buildings get. Does that make sense? And the ones that are out near the edge weren't done. They never got finished. And they aren't on like the very edge precipice or whatever. They had room to grow, but it looked like the place was building out and building up and becoming more populous. It was a growing settlement when it just suddenly stopped growth.
Is this my house?
What's that?
Did I live on this and then like kablooey and
Yeah, I think it was recent.
What's your background? Why do you? Because you guys have both been talking.
I have no lore.
She lived on the spit.
Well, there's lots of spits. It could be any kind of.
Is even going
Spits are
to
just
my trauma.
a spit is just
a.
A spit's just a nautical term for a small island that isn't very permanent because it may or may not, like the tide may come in and sweep it under, or if the ocean, like tides change or the flow of the ocean change or something like that, it might be swept away. So spits usually it means island, but not as permanent as an island.
Island, but not really.
What's that?
Island, but not really.
Islands, but I wouldn't want to invest a lot of money in the house you build on there because it might not be around for a really long time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. I'm here for a spit time because I might be gone.
Daddy's family lived on the spit. That is the question.
Is it gonna be my trauma lore, or it's gonna end up like the evil Coswell?
It could be both.
What? Or if the
Coswell
evil
Ames.
Coswell guy owned it and he was like, you know what? Murder spree.
It could be both, Madison.
Why not both?
Aw.
Okay, Madison.
Is mom gone or did you? Zoe, is mom gone?
Mom's
Or
on a walk with the. No.
Yes.
I can find
she's on a walk-a-dock?
I can find it.
Go up and grab some so you can share. Share and then go get some more. We have more than enough candy to share because somebody sent us a gigantic bucket of Hershey's Kisses.
It was actually a box.
Zoe's mom's birthday is on Valentine's Day, and one of her friends sends her
Birthday's close.
a orange flavored cake, and then to keep the cake from moving around, she puts it in it's because it's always a ring cake. She puts it in a thing that contains it, and then to keep it from moving around the box rather than putting in packing peanuts or anything, she packs it with Hershey's Kisses until it can't.
This year she also packed it with Reese's.
My grandma always sends us a package of just like miscellaneous Valentine's Day candies, and there's a little bag for each of us and a pair of socks.
No, the box is literally packed to overflowing with Hershey's Kisses.
Where do you even find that many
So
Hershey's
many bags
Kisses?
of chips like these.
Oh yeah.
Wait, why'd you
crazy.
get chips?
I also got a blow.
Where'd you get chips and a blowgun?
My aunt for my birthday. She got me. My
Wait, you
aunt.
got
I mean, these are fun chips because they're like weird flavored.
Yeah, they're like weird flavors.
Sushi flavored.
Yeah. One
crazy.
of them was squid. I'm not eating that.
It might be. It could be tasty. You never know. It could taste like shrimp. All right. So unfinished house or go further in towards one of the finished buildings?
Can we split up?
You can absolutely split. I'm mostly focusing on him right now because he swung across before the ship was even entirely docked.
I wave walk 3.
Smort.
What
We
else
walk
am I gonna
3.
use
Like
it?
I don't need to wait for you punks. I can just go over.
I have 3.
Tarzan swinging over
What
there.
else am I gonna use?
No. All right.
He is Tarzan.
Probably more of like the edge, like more built, not generally like this.
Okay, so past the ones that aren't finished
Yeah.
to the first couple that are finished.
Yeah.
Cool.
'Cause those
Why don't you give me a scavenge roll?
I have 1, and then edges.
Vicky,
What edges were?
Sylvia.
Well, yeah, you definitely picked one of the edges. Which edge do you have? What edges do you have?
Great tides and veils. I'm thinking right.
Probably. Yeah, sure. Moving around here, yeah. If it's more about how you're physically moving around through the space, that's totally fine. Let's go with that. So that's 2 dice.
Yes.
That's 2 dice. What aspects do you have?
Aspects.
Flip over. They're on the back.
Had dice on this.
You had dice on your sleeve?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to stand up and shake your arm out.
Exactly. Tricks of
There was there's this show that my wife and I watched it's called The Bear, and it's about a guy who runs a restaurant, and they get a lot of famous cooks and chefs and restaurateurs and stuff like that onto the show as like guest appearance people. And then one of them, this lady retires and closes her restaurant, and she comes over and they decide to make some like basically take like freezer pizza, but they're going to make it fancy, and they're all drinking a lot. And she does this. You ever seen the thing where the guy takes
Yeah.
and she's like, she's sitting there like, they're showing her the meme on the video, and she's trying to, that's so stupid, the salt would go down your sleeve.
That's what I think every time, but I think he's wearing short sleeves. No, he was wearing short sleeves.
But she's kind of slurring her words. That's so dumb. The salt would go down your sleeve. And
Yeah, how would you
like,
pick it up? Like,
roll me 2, I think. Or what kind of? Do you have any assets that might help you poke around?
Poke around. My chakram,
Probably not.
cat, and grafted limb.
I think the cat would absolutely help you poke around. Cats are great at poking around.
cats are way too good at poking around.
Yes.
So you
They
can roll
have
3.
no reason to need to poke around that much.
1 extra cat dice.
3 and a 1.
4, 3, and a 1. Okay.
Cat did not do you much good.
That's all right.
Cat got
The
distracted
cat
by
dice might have been the 4. You never know.
Cat's ate
Maybe the
frog.
cat's the only. In fact, I'm going to say the cat is the thing that finds something.
Dang it. That's better than me.
You are the cat, though. What if your like conscience is split?
So you come into this place. It's a house.
Basically.
And
Is it neon?
Is it neon green and pink?
Is it purple?
no, it's not that kind of house.
Oh.
And the cat immediately kind of skitters off into the house. You're like, yeah, it's already gone. It's
Cat
off.
noises.
It's off.
Cat noise.
It's off exploring and stuff. So you're kind of poking around. And what you see, what you find is that there's like in the kitchen area, there's bowls and utensils and stuff like out on the counter in the midst of use. Like they're not like in containers or they're not like sealed up or anything like that. Like there's a cutting board and the knife is kind of in the cutting board and there's some stuff. It's old and it's kind of like it's meat and it's dried up and kind of gone. It's all kind of fuzzy and dry. It's, fuzzy and dried up and stuff. But it's all gone bad. But it's like literally it was like the knife is stuck into the stud. No, the knife's ruined, but it's like stuck into the meat, and like they were like in the middle of cutting this thing up. All right, there's a pot on like a heating element, and there's no liquid in the pot, but you can see, and you're a cook, so you've seen this kind of thing. There's a lot of like stuff down at the bottom, like probably about this level of a layer of basically charcoal down at the bottom of the pot, where heat continued to be applied to this thing until all the liquid of whatever was in this stew pot got completely boiled away, and then whatever was left got kind of basically, but it was like, basically someone got, you look around at this stuff like vegetable stuff that's just left dried, and it's in like a chopped up pile, and then it's dried up and stuff like that, like it's right on the counter on a board. Everything in here has been left like in mid, there's no people, there's no body, but whatever happened, these guys were like literally right in the middle of doing.
Frog ate them.
Somebody Thanos snapped and then went,
Coswell Thanos snapped.
oh my god, no.
Coswell snapped.
Coswell snapped.
That's why everyone's afraid of them, because he has the infamy moment.
He's like, you. I don't like you.
The what?
The infamy moment. We don't want to get sued, so we have to say infamy moment.
A legally distinct infinity gauntlet? Is that what that is?
The glove of power.
Infinity moment?
The stone mitten.
Here's your pity chip.
The stone mitten of gem power. Definitely not an infinity.
The
The
magical,
long-lasting stone mitten of gem power.
magical anime girl mitten.
Magic oven mitt of
If I
galactic
ever get a
importance.
cast, if I ever get a cast on my hand, I want somebody to paint it to look like the infamy moment.
I volunteer. I have golden paint. I volunteer.
Change one of the gems into like
I volunteer.
real eyes.
You mean if you ever get a cast again?
Yeah, again.
What happened? You got a cat?
Yeah.
I was walking. I was at soccer practice, and I was walking backwards.
She forgot how to walk.
Shut up. I was walking backwards, right? Chilling, doing my thing. My shoes, those little loopy doopsies, were a little too long.
Loopy doops.
And you know how? And you know how those soccer shoes
Oh yeah, cleats.
have like the spikies on the bottom.
Those things are awful to walk on concrete.
So I was
been my
walking
sister all
like
to me,
this
Johnny.
because I was stupid and like 8 years old. So I was walking like this, and my spiky got caught in one of the shoelaces on the other side of the shoe, on the other shoe. And I kept walking, and I didn't realize it, and I went, "Wee,"
It's a good thing the stupidness from 8 is completely worn
and I
away.
fell back on my hand, and I put
Mine
my
is like
on my wrist.
0.2% better.
Uh-oh, that kind of hurts. So I sat up for the rest of practice. And then I didn't go to the doctor's office for 3 days.
Hey, come on.
It was during like good tricks, and I was like, oh shoot, there's a garbage can right there. I tried to stop.
How would you do the garbage can?
I didn't see it. I don't know why. As I was trying to like stop, and fell over, and I like.
Why would you need to? Why did you need to
But then a
stop?
lady
if you
driving
didn't see
past
it?
came back, and she was like, hey, I can take you to your house.
Can I help?
Yeah. Went up there, fractured my elbow, and I got a cast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometime take a look at
I've never got
Zoe's mom's arm. She's got a scar that goes like this, long white one like this, and it's got little centipede legs on either side because she broke her arm and the bone right out through it. So they had to stitch. So it's the sew up and then the stitch marks on both sides.
I have a scar
And
on my chin.
it's a lot. Yeah, I've got one right here. You know, I got that.
I
You can't see it because it's underneath the thing, but all the hair grows in white right there. Back when it wasn't all white, right here. When I was about 3 years old, I found my granddad's straight razor for Shaw, and I had seen them shave, so I figured. So I covered my face all up in shaving cream, and I took the razor and I went, and I just buried it into my chin. It basically stuck in the bone. And I walked out. I hurt myself. I walked out into the kitchen. My grandmother, it was at my grandparents' house. I walk out. They were all having dinner or lunch. And I walk out, and I'm holding the and blood was just, because it cut my face, blood was just pouring down. They thought I'd cut my throat off. It's just, blood was just pouring down. Soaked my shirt, soaked my pants. It was just everywhere. They lost their mind.
I
was riding my bike on a like 3 weeks after I learned how to ride a bike. I was riding on like this really thin concrete patch, and next to it was a concrete ditch, and my bike veered off a little bit, and then I fell down and hit my chin on the concrete ditch.
I've got one right here from that. Like I was trying to go up a hill,
hate
lost my momentum, but I was stubborn and I didn't want to take my feet off the pedal, so the bike started to go over and I just hung on and kept trying to pedal. I went over and first thing that hit the ground was my forehead. And it was a gravel road.
Oh, that's why I hate gravel.
Yeah.
On bikes. I hate gravel on any but
Like
bikes.
2 of my teeth broke, and so I now
They're not supposed to break.
no, and now I used to have 2, but I got one of them pulled recently, so now I have 1.
Oh, like a year, like last year, maybe around this time. I was like, I fell down at
We should
recess.
stop doing this so we can actually do the game
As
part.
clumsy as I am,
I was talking.
sorry.
I fell down at recess and I hit my face, I think, and then one of my teeth got like the tiniest chip out of it. And I was like,
I'm gonna die.
I chipped my tooth. Can I go to the nurse's office? And I was like, sure. And so I walked down to the nurse's office. I chipped my tooth.
Is this story going anywhere?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
And it was like, well, what am I supposed to do about it? And it was like, maybe you could call home. I don't know. My dad was like, so they called and went, hi, your daughter chipped her tooth? And since that's happened to him before, I think,
Oh, yeah.
he thought it was like
A
half
big chunk out of it.
a big chunk
I
out of
got
it.
there. I was so annoyed because I got there and I looked at it. I'm like, I left work for this. You could barely even see where it was at. It was like, and it was a baby tooth. It was gonna fall out anyway. Who cares?
We went to,
That's like getting a dent in a soda can and calling me about it. Doesn't need to be repaired. It's a soda can. We're throwing it out.
and we ended up going to the dentist and they were like, I can just barely see it. So then
You're
they,
fine.
I looked at the people at the desk in the office and I was like, and they looked at me and were like, can you believe this? And I'm like, we can't really. So I'm going it back to the room.
The worst I ever think I've
Can't
done
believe
at
it.
school, I got stung by an unidentified bug. We were playing tamarind tag in the field because
You have a driver's license with them?
Oh yeah.
And
what's a tamarind tag?
remember when we used to play tag with our eyes closed in like an enclosed area?
So much of this game I'm gonna have to delete. Keep
And
going.
it was like a bunch of dandelions in the like storm drain area, and I fell back, and it's just like sting, and it's just stuck in my arm. And I'm like, well, that's not good. So Michael takes me to the office after asking Miss Dina, and they're like, yeah, we don't know what this is. It's not a bee, it's not a wasp, but we just don't know what it is. So they like pull it out, throw it in the trash, give me a Band-Aid, give me an ice pack. It's just like, well, if it keeps swelling, we'll call your mom, but there's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah, is that why
Okay.
the demon? Is that why there's a demon in a storm drain? Is the demon the tiny bug? The tiny unidentified bug that stung you?
Game. Okay, so you find the cat. So this is the thing. It's like everybody seems to have just gotten their stuff interrupted right in the middle of it. Your cat is scratching at like a box. Yeah, like a box in the what you're imagining is like sort of a side room off the kitchen area, like a pantry sort of place. And he's kind of yowling like he wants to get into it. He's like trying to scratch at stuff like that. You pop that thing open and it's got a bunch of meat in it, but it's been preserved. It's like dried meat, so like beef jerky. But it's the kind of stuff where it's been like super dried, so you wouldn't even really want to like eat it like you would normally with beef jerky. You would like soak it first. Like it's the kind of stuff that's meant to go in a stew and then soak for like 8 hours. It's still good, but it's kind of old and dry. It surely should have been used before now, but it's not bad. It's just really super preserved. The other thing that you find is looking through this place, and every room is kind of like this. You find little examples of life interrupted right in the midst of things. Like everybody was like in the middle of doing whatever, and somebody sounded off a chime, and then everybody just got up and left. There's no sign of people. There's just signs of what they were doing until like the moment they decided they weren't doing it anymore. Up on the roof, and there's an access. There's a kind of a steepish stairwell on the top floor. It's only like 2 floors, but the top floor has one of the big trailing vines off of the tree comes down right down to that, and it's been tied off and secured to the roof of the building. It's not the vines also wrap around there, but there's extra ropes and stuff that have been added to this thing. And the branch has been brought down and kind of secured almost like with with tent ties and stuff, so it's held in place from like several different directions, and then underneath of that there's kind of a big, I'm going to say a bucket, but I want you to understand, it's like when I say a bucket, what I'm saying is like, it's more like a tub. It's like the size of a hot tub, but made out of wood. Okay.
That's cool. Okay.
And then the top of it has like sort of a really complicated screen on top of it. Okay. So imagine a sandwich where the top and bottom layer of bread are screens. And then there's like this black rock that's jammed in between these two screens, like really, really like layers of it, like this thick. And that's the whole top of this thing.
Sandwich.
Yeah, and the whole top, and this screen has been fastened on top of this tub, right? And the tub has been situated directly underneath of the branch. Okay, so the branch hangs down until it goes right, and the branch is big, so that it's still kind of most of this thing. And then on the side of it, there's like a, you know what I mean when I say a spigot? Like we turn it and like there's a little thing where stuff will come out. So they've got that. And checking that out and flipping the little dial on it, water comes out.
Like a
Where did you get
water
water?
cooler.
A water what?
Wait,
Like
where did you get?
like a cooler.
Like a cooler, but big, right? It's really, really big.
It's like sports things.
It's like a cistern almost, yeah. So it's probably, I mean, it's big enough that like 6 or 7 people could sit in it, although it's definitely not built for that. It's not meant to be that, but it's like it's a great big thing. And it's probably about 5 or 6 feet high. And then you turn this thing, and if you're tapping on it and like figuring out where there's echo, it's probably full of water. I mean, it's probably full up. And the water is
Bring
great.
it with us.
I mean, we need some help to like carry it.
I am also
You can get it, between the two of you, you could probably pick this thing up, but even then it would be a heck of a carry because it's up on the top of a building. You could get smaller containers and dump all the water out. What's that?
I can shark the skin and have my bugs help.
You're still, the thing is, you've got 10,000 bugs, but there's still about as many bugs as there is a small person.
Can I use my weight?
Now, if it's got metal bands on it, which it does, you can use your magnetics and probably help carry it.
Oh, that's easy.
I want to have a way where if I shirk the skin, I have this like belt of just like of like tiny pockets, and none of you know what it is. And then if I shirk the skin, all of the bugs come out, and then like magnets, like pure like those circle magnets. They're just metal, just like float out of the thing and just clip on to the bugs. Oh, like
Really? Okay.
or the bugs can just be mad.
The thing is, you're thinking about all this because you're like, okay, because it's bolted down to it's kind of secured to the roof. And you're like, okay, we'd have to get that thing off there. And then we need the 2 of us probably lift it. And if Lydia helps us lift it, the 3 of us probably can get it up and then we can get it. But then how do we get it down off because they built it up here, because how do we get it down off the roof? And you're looking around and you're seeing the other buildings that are around here. Every single one of the places around here has one of these things on here. Months and months of pure water, clean water that have been, that's been somehow like purified. It doesn't have, there's no taste, because even rainwater in Wildsea has a little bit of a tang of crezerin in it. Like, it's hard to find pure water. Port Ames has got pure water because it comes up out of a mountain well. It comes up out of the earth, so it doesn't have any crezerin in it. That's one of the big things. This place, completely clean because they figured out some way of filtering it.
Steal their secrets.
No. I was thinking once we get like at least one tub down, I want to find like who originally lived here and like ask how did you do this?
Find the family history books. There's got to be like some convoluted diary somewhere. There's always a
Can I
convoluted
see?
diary.
Let me see your sheet for a second. Let me look at what you got there, because I want to see if you've got the skills that you would need to kind of figure out what they did. No,
I
you
might.
probably need study. Study might help. You need a combination of study and like rattle.
Does anyone else have study?
I have 2 in study and she's got rattle.
He's got study. He's got study at 2. You got
I
study.
have 1 in study.
What if we just like combine each of our singular
A
brains?
giant brain
It's like
of studying.
Singular.
Do you have?
singular brain cell, singular brain cell, singular brain cell, mega brain cell.
Have you got what's your study at?
Studies at 2.
What's your study at? 1? And you have rattle?
She's got rattle at 2.
I don't have any study.
That's you don't need to, because they can tell you the stuff and you can sort of figure out the engineering of it.
Pictures.
So how do you signal these guys? Wave your big leafy arm.
Do the Kermit thing. You're just like, yes! Do the Kermit thing.
Become Kermit the Frog.
Where you're just like, ah!
You don't need, they're docking. You're not that far away. You can just
You can do the Kermit.
get their attention. Or you can go get them.
Kermit.
Do the Kermit. No.
Write down on your sheet though. Write down on your sheet the dried meat in the.
I have now dried meat.
You put that under resources.
I don't have.
No, sorry.
That's right.
Specimens. Yeah, dried meat.
Dried.
Dried meat.
Here.
Delicious salted dried meat.
Now I have extreme jerky.
Yeah.
Extreme jerky.
Extreme jerky.
Well,
Guys, someone died on my
Extra
paper.
dry jerky. What?
Guys, this is meat juice on my paper. Definitely not blood.
Okay.
Guys, this is meat juice on my ocarina. Definitely not blood. I definitely didn't use it to blood in somebody's
Meat juice is blood.
Guys, let
That's
me
just
just
a
point.
word for
I was about to
blood.
say that. Guys,
But, like,
let me point out here. Meat juice is just another name for blood.
Yeah, the juice in meat is blood. That's what that is.
You see the squish?
All right. So Anthony gets you over here and kind of points out all this stuff, right?
Yeah, whatever.
So I think, let me see, 2 dice. I think one person's gonna roll, but we take an extra dice for everybody helping. So 2 dice, 3, 4, 5. Everybody kind of chips in here and kind of figures out what they've got going on. Okay, give it a roll. See what you got as you guys are examining this crazy thing and trying to figure out what they're up to.
We got 2 6s and 3 5s.
Really? Holy crap!
This goes incredibly well. No failures.
This goes very, very well. Okay, so the deal is with this. I got to think of a twist for this.
Oh, all the water jugs spawn on our ship.
Spawn.
That's not a twist. That's just a glitch.
That's a video game glitch.
That's a bug. Something's wrong here.
Exactly. Something right.
Press L and they're just like, pooh.
So the gist of it is, what these guys have done is they've taken.
She forgot the keyboard existed.
Okay. The basic idea here is that water that is not clean is poured in, comes in the top, right? And the stuff that's in between the 2 screens is some kind of filtering thing. So it's like stone, but it's really powdery and it's charcoal.
Steal it.
It's charcoal.
Oh yeah, you can like swallow some bits of charcoal and it steals whatever bad chemical things are in there, and then you just dump it.
So they took a ridiculous amount of charcoal and sandwiched it between each one. Where they got charcoal, who knows? Because charcoal usually is made by burning wood, and burning wood in the Wildsea is a ridiculous idea.
That's the equivalent of the Salem witch trials, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, it's just that
No, those are cruthering covered trees. They burn.
We are trees, Amelia.
Right.
Exactly.
The solution to that would be, hey, let's burn our neighbors.
The cruthering.
The problem is
covered
Cresserin is also like gasoline. So if you set a fire anywhere, the chances of it getting out of control. There are still places you can go where there are fires, but they have to do it.
Giant bonehead.
Well, like in stone buildings and stuff like that, where you can totally control where the fire is going and that there aren't going to be any sparks. But like there's a fire in Wildsea up north that somebody started during a war. It's still burning. It's been 100 years. There's an entire faction of people that all they do is try to contain the outside edge of it so it doesn't go any further. And it still hasn't gone out because the trees in that area don't get used up. They grow so fast that they keep supplying more fuel for the fire. There's actually a Leviathan that's sort of the embodiment of the fire up there. It's bananas.
technically use like go inside of teeth or like in whatever inside them and like do this charcoal mechanic like pure water sort of thing.
You could figure out, if you could figure out a way to make the charcoal, you could also just gather up all the charcoal. The hardest thing about this whole, because basically what it is 2 layers of charcoal sandwiched between the thing. The most difficult and valuable thing about all of this is the charcoal itself. If you gather all, and it's not heavy, if you gather all that stuff up, you can make a bunch of these. The other trick, the other trick is that you can't just take a bucket like this big old thing and sit out in the middle of nowhere and expect enough water to fall in that it will work. Because yes, if you pour water on, it would come through and filter, but if you're just waiting for rain to fall, you have to find a way of funneling it to this thing, because otherwise what comes through is just going to dry out before it does anything. That's what the branch is doing, because this tree is basically channeling all of the water that falls onto the tree down these branches. That's what weeping willows do. That's why they hang like that. They're hung in such a way that the water comes trailing down these branches, falls onto the ground right where the roots are. If you take a tree, any tree, fun fact, and you look at the area that the branches cover in the air, that's about the area that the roots cover in the ground. So
that world tree must be big.
So if the branches are out there and they're catching all the water and they're dripping it down, they're literally dripping it down to where the roots are. So they figured out all this stuff and they brought the branches down and said, oh, the branches are going to follow the water. So now we're going to have enough water coming down every time there's a rain that's going to feed the bucket. So the trick is, but you guys can collect water, however, because it can just be bad water. The trick is figuring out how to make charcoal, and
why are you
collecting,
to the
because he was the one that suggested it. You could either figure out how to make the charcoal in a way that's safe, or gather up all the charcoal that's in all of these places around on the buildings and stuff like that, because that is a heck of a good trick your hand was up.
Oh, 2 things. Number one, would it make sense to find a giant stone building in the middle of all this? It's like the oldest building there. That's where they made all the charcoal to do this, first of all. And second of all, could we just do like 5 of these, like, giant circle under Keith's tree hat? He gains like a top hat shape.
Yes, that is.
The top hat is just an added bonus, but then we gain water because it's raining on his giant fruit tree.
Yeah, Keith's tree is small enough that you would only need probably 2 of these filters to like basically get maybe 3, like sort of in a triangle, and that would cover most.
And then would
cover most of the space underneath the tree.
We could take wood or like metal and make like.
You basically just need to take like 3 of these grading things. You don't need the bucket. I mean, you could also collect a bunch of pure water, but you can get the grading tops and just build new containers on the ship that those things would fit on top of, and you could build them around the bottom of the fruit tree.
Yes.
And you still, honestly, these things are heavy duty enough. You could walk on the gratings and still get to the tree without it being a problem.
Step stool.
Try not.
Stop dying.
You might want to go. Can you do me a favor and grab a 2 sheet of paper towels to put underneath that before you start stripping them? Collecting charcoal. You want to try and figure out. Anthony, are you trying to figure out like how they did this, or you want to gather up a bunch of charcoal? You want to gather up some grain, because you guys probably don't need the whole big bucket.
Can I do both?
You could gather up all the gratings and stuff and start thinking about it. Ro is saying, let's see if we can find the building where they make this stuff.
It would make sense for it to be at the center because that's probably what they evolutioned around.
Are you doing it?
Like I don't think they're as the people from
No, just
I put an alarm on.
oh
so I can
dang,
do
what's
this
it called?
now.
The stone place in the mountains with the llama alpaca things. It's in Peru. I don't know what it's called right this second, but were there and they like worshiped the sun, and they had like the little stone churches in the middle of everything. Like everything was built around those. That might be combining 2 different things together,
Sure.
but kind of like that.
Stone? No, wait, that's another one.
No, the one that Con's always like, I've been there. That one.
No.
I've been there.
No, I don't
That
know.
one,
Like the exploding mountains.
No, not that one. No,
Exploding mountains are called volcanoes, Amelia.
no, the one with this, the one with the, it's in Peru. They have the llama alpaca things where you go there and they're like a lot of years old, and then there was a really windy road leading up to it, and then they just like disappeared with no trace, and no one knows what happened to them. Those ones, you know what I'm talking about? I don't think they were the Aztecs, but they might have been.
Aztec. I don't know what that's from.
Aztecs. The does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I don't think you even know what you're talking about.
I don't know the exact word for it. Do you know what I'm
Finish your
talking about?
Duolingo.
Yes. Oh my god. Stop worrying about my stuff.
Can't you just do it later?
I said
Can I
more,
use
so I don't
phone
forget.
to Google it?
What do you need?
Then why can't you set your alarm for later?
Nobody look at my password. If it's a Z in numbers, we already know.
It's not. I changed it.
It's gonna be backwards Z in numbers.
Hey, you're talking with Google. Schmoogledy boog.
Yes, it's up. Google.
Don't press the button.
What? Just speak it.
Just press the button.
What are you?
Press the button.
Llama people.
Llama alpaca.
Dang.
Where?
Where are the alpacas?
This is how my things go. Like
Peru, llama,
Peru.
llama, alpaca, where?
Where?
Where are they?
Famous landmarks. Machu Picchu. That's what it's called. Exploding mountain. That's not what that is either.
Wait, what?
That was the one where everyone was encased in stone because they fell on the ground and
Yeah,
crying.
wasn't that Machu Picchu?
No.
Okay. So
We learned about the exploding mountain.
now we learned about
That's not
Machu
Machu
Picchu.
Picchu. Machu Picchu had llamas and they kind of just up and disappeared.
I don't know what.
Partly the going theory with Machu Picchu is that while it was a very cool city, it was also a very high city that didn't have great water supply. So once they built it, it wasn't super sustainable when they found other places that they could settle that were just better. That's the same thing with if you ever go down to Mesa Verde.
Oh yeah, those are the cave people.
Yeah, well, they're not cave people. They're actually full.
Caves in the.
Yeah, and there's like there's several villages that would be several hundred people, and the colonizer narrative around that is these people just vanished, and that's not what happened. They came to the realization that while it was a very safe place to live, it wasn't a very easy place to like grow food, to get water, because you're up on a mesa. It's really hard to get water. And if you have a dry season, I mean, the water was basically rain that was coming down through this river, and if the rain didn't fall heavily enough, then the water wasn't there. So they eventually just moved down to New Mexico and Arizona and left the houses behind. So they didn't vanish or anything like that. They just moved. And that's probably what happened with Machu Picchu. Is it wasn't like some randomly. Hello, Doc. Did you have a dog park excursion?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go ask Mama. Yeah.
So excellent. I love that idea. I'm going to give you a whisper.
Reward.
Yeah, as you get in there. So I'm going to describe the place first. So it is a great big stone building, but it isn't the building isn't like the whole building is like a massive charcoal maker. So this is how
Put down your phone.
you're able to figure out what they do in here to make and they probably also worked some metal because again they have a bunch of these screens, and that's honestly one of the hardest things that you can imagine them. That's the trickiest thing to make. Like, how do you make metal when you can't use fire very much? Right? So
Bendy pipe cleaners without.
there is in the center of town a very, very large stone building. It's kind of a dome, right? Yes.
I either called it or caused it. It was one of those two things.
I mean, you called it.
What?
And in there, basically it looks like everything that they had that was going on that had to do with fire happened inside of this building. The two big things is that they were apparently like gathering up scrap metal, anything that they could find and scavenge that was metal, and they were melting it down and reforging it into like wire and other stuff. And that's how they were making the screens. There's some of that stuff that's still like there to be made. And the other section And basically what this whole building's job is to let smoke out, and the whole inside of it, the walls are just black with smoke. It's meant to let smoke out without letting any sparks out. So again, tons and like the holes that are done, none of them are just open holes. They're all like heavily screened, and the screens have been damaged over time with weather and everything like that. And I don't know if you would never have experienced this, but if you have like metal and it's constantly exposed to heat, and then the heat goes away and it's more heat and stuff, it tends to rust a lot faster. So some of the screens are starting to go, but there's also not any fire in here. So the easiest way, what they have inside of here is that they've got a bunch of...
You just got Franched.
They've got a bunch of big stone containers, but also metal containers. It looks like they made the metal containers a little bit newer. And inside of these things, I'm just going to explain how charcoal gets made, like the easiest way to make charcoal. Super, super easy way to make charcoal. You take a bunch of dried wood and you put it inside of like an oil barrel. You know, like what I mean? Like the big, imagine a big metal garbage barrel that's like 5 feet tall, right?
Like a beer, like one of those beer makers.
Like a beer keg or something like that, but like the oil, like the kind of things that they ship oil in and stuff like that.
Those things.
Or the big garbage, you know, like at places where it's like the big garbage can that's like this tall at like public places and stuff like that. That's like a big round bin. That's just metal. And then there's like a thing that they'll mount a thing on top of it. So anyway, you take it, you pack it full of wood, right? And then you put a lid on it, but you don't put the lid on all the way. You have to let some air escape, right? Then you do not set that on fire.
Do not set that on fire.
That's not the point. Then you put it and you make a ring of wood and you put the big can in the middle of the ring of wood and you pile up the wood all around it and you set that wood on fire. So you set a fire on the outside of the can. And you let it burn for 3 or 4 hours, hot.
Excuse me, are you trying to set fire to anything in the Wildsea?
They found a town that is using charcoal to filter Crezerin out of the water. And that's not the exciting thing. How did they get charcoal? Because the only way to make charcoal is with fire.
Also, I absolutely called that there's a stone building in the center.
So the great big stone building where they're apparently making charcoal. So this is how you make it. You put all the wood into the can. You put the can around a ring of wood. You pack the wood up around it. You set the wood on fire and you let it burn for 3 or 4 hours. Once the fire is done, the heat of it is so intense that when you pop open the can, all of the liquid basically has been cooked out of the wood, and it's just these great big black blocks. That's basically coal, but not compressed coal. It's charcoal. But it still burns like coal, so you can use it in fires and stuff like that. But it's also a filter. So you can run water through that and it will come out and it will catch up all the impurities and stuff like that and things like that. So, they were making their own charcoal here. They figured out how to do that or find out how to do that and figured out a way to do it relatively safely. Your hand up was up first. Go.
I have an idea for a bad dad joke, and I think you would appreciate it.
You have an idea for what?
Bad dad joke.
Ooh, give.
So
I'm in a bad dad joke.
you know how we saw those well tub things?
Yeah.
They're Coswells.
It's amazing.
It's bad, and it's not even repeatable because no one outside of this table would even know what the joke is about. Coswell, they're Coswells because the main bad guy in their story is Coswell Ames. Anyway, what's that?
I said, or at least right now.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. Continue.
You don't remember? All
I
right.
think it was something about how you could eat it and then it would I don't know.
I don't think you can eat.
All right. I'm going to give you a
Really small
whisper
amounts
for figuring out the firehouse thing. It's a totally safe whisper that can absolutely be used whenever you want it to. No downsides whatsoever.
Really unsafe.
It's called The Secret of Fire.
Ooh, yay, I love fire.
Arson.
The look on his face, he was like,
You know,
very bad.
what was that thing you were talking about where, like, a Leviathan monster that was fire?
The embodiment of the Northern
Yeah.
Fire.
I want to go fight fire. We shall find him. I'm going to get
saying-
banned from the captain.
I'm saying
I'm
that
serious.
the
Right through to that
summon that embodiment of fire.
Do not fight.
Don't use it.
Flag
Do never use it.
survive the
No, you fight fire with fire. You
Is that what the
burn-
name of that Leviathan is? The conflagration?
Yep.
Conflagration. That's what it's called.
You could summon that Leviathan. Possibly.
Yeah, you don't fight that Leviathan. You
But what
survive that Leviathan.
But what if? But what if I make friends with him and he just follows Keith everywhere?
He sets because he sets the entire world on fire. That's not a good idea. That's a bad idea.
wonderful
Doc, what are you doing? You're not a table dog.
Think. For once in your life.
That's honestly fair, though.
Why are you a table dog?
I'm a table dog.
I'm.
Also, I think you will
No,
enjoy
he's fine up there.
Let me see.
France, y'all.
Yeah, France. Send it to your friend to totally France them.
Okay. Wow, that's terrible.
Get coconut ball.
And again, in this building, I'm just going to point out again that in this building, it looks as though everything was just
Hastily evacuated.
no, it just everything is in mid interruption. It's not the centralmost building in the area. The other thing that I'm going to point out, I probably should have mentioned this first, is one of the walls of the building has been cracked open.
Like,
The building can't be used anymore because somebody basically
who was it?
caved in part of the wall. They cracked through it. They caved in part of the wall.
Oh, dang.
Please don't.
Oh, dang it. Oh, dang.
Who does anybody still have? Does anybody have any mire yet, or did we get rid of that?
I have
What's the mire?
explosives are unstable. Madison! I'm doing so good.
I like how you're scolding him for having a dangerous mire.
Why'd you choose that one?
Technically, she did and I did that. one
Asa
too.
chose it.
Did I?
Yeah. I said I almost killed you with Amelia's dice, so you can pick my mire and you pick the explosive one just to get back at me and Amelia.
I didn't know what this was.
I didn't know.
Technically, this is an unstable explosive. I'm just curious.
It's
Hey, Zoe.
Yeah.
Your scout bug
my scout.
comes back and tells you that it has found all the people.
Oh,
Asa down for tea.
guys, did you at all hear what?
Yeah, I
No.
did.
I mean, it told you. They wouldn't have heard the bug. They would have heard me.
The firefly, but not actual fire.
Comes back.
She's a beetle.
Oh, it was a good joke.
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah. I'm Firefly. I'm not her Firefly. Anyway, yes. Hi. So, found the people.
Okay.
Bro.
Where'd
Go
you
to
get
that
that
people.
from, Jameson?
They're all in the town square.
What? James is in?
Oh.
Yeah, my scout beetle's name is
Or
Jameson.
steal more.
Why?
Not Jameson. Jameson.
Jameson?
Jameson, because he's committed many sins. Jameson.
Jameson?
What, Nora?
No, James sin.
Jameson.
Jameson. Because he's committed many sins.
Okay.
Okay.
And most of them are the seven deadly.
Yeah, but did he set a raccoon on fire and set it upon water? Like,
Do you have anything like?
He is breed.
water lake? Water lake. Light pollution
Bro, your bug has the sin of greed. He's got money.
My street pulls.
Do you have sense?
I have no podcast, actually.
I have one in sense.
All right. I'd like you to. Do you have iron?
Edges.
What are your edges?
You don't have iron. I'm just telling you this now.
Okay. So do me a favor. Just roll sense.
Just rolls.
This'll-
Every time.
Because you're going to get the memories of this bug and what it saw, and we'll see how well that you handle that.
Trauma.
All right. What are your Myers?
Sitting there.
My Myers are your movements are staccato and disturbing.
You
Okay. Shh. Hey. What are they?
Myers are your movements are staccato disturbing. And the opposite of vertigo, a deck level queasiness, magnetic forces. I don't know what the
Oh, the magnetic forces act up around you. I think that you mark that second one for like a certain amount of queasiness. You get a certain amount of queasiness because you get images from
This is family.
It's deck level queasiness.
Hey, just mark that one. You're feeling queasy about being on this spit because of the images that Jameson
James the same.
brought back to you. You found all the people. The bug found all the people. They're all.
Stop!
They've been killed.
Yeah.
They definitely didn't just die. They're all in the square and they're all dead.
So just a bunch of like dead bodies over there.
And that's where
I'm not going to get into the details, but I'm going to tell
And
you.
that's where
Listen,
Maddie's family is sitting.
I'm not going to get into the details. I'm going to tell you that it's enough that Zoe takes Meyer from getting it secondhand without actually seeing it with her own actual
Oh,
eyes.
that's
Poor bird needs a cup of soup.
James is in.
And that's where we're gonna end this session.
No.
No, we have 10
Seriously,
more
it's
minutes.
5:30. No, it's 5:15.
It's
I'm going to tell you what you're able. Now, do you go to the square?
You
Or
not
do you-
swear.
We asked Asa to make Jameson a cup of tea, some soup, and a blanket. He's
All right. Do you go to the square? Do you tell them about it or anything like that? Or,
Guys, let's all go to the square
That's a
for
ter-
fun time.
that's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
Everyone
right.
pick up Meyer.
And find Maddie's family there.
what? Stop talking.
Who? So you have sense. Does anybody have like? Who's got the best sense?
I have 2 cents.
Who has tides? Do you have tides too?
I have tides.
I have tides.
I have 0 cents.
I don't think I have.
I have tides, but no sense.
I have tides and cents.
I have tides and cents. I have 2 cents and tides.
That makes sense for somebody who's like sort of an entertainer and understands people.
I don't. I have none of that.
Okay.
I just die who cooks soup.
Oh, and we'll write down on the Keith sheet that you guys have.
One of my biggest goals is to make the perfect soup.
Oh no.
We'll write down. I'm gonna write down
Perfect soup.
on Keith's sheet that you guys have like just piles of charcoal.
I got France. I totally expected it.
And metal screens,
Trillion.
water filter.
The inhalation before mate, though.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have you roll these 3 and basically see what you can piece together just based on what you know about the city because we need to kind of cut to the conclusion.
Like,
Yeah, sure.
Maddie, my dice. I need my dice.
Hush.
How many?
3 dice. Roll 3. Send some tides. See what you can figure out from this.
5, 6, and 3.
That's good because you got a 6. If you got a 5, I was going to give you another Meyer once you figured out what this is. As it is, you figure it out without it mentally scarring you.
At least I'm not scarred.
I'm not. I'm
So I'm gonna paint you guys a quick word picture.
scared.
ooh, I love word pictures.
All right.
No, you
Coswell
this one.
Coswell Ames has this town that basically Coswell Ames has this town that has basically got a grip on all the settlements anywhere near Port Ames, right? Because they have the single source of pure, clean water anywhere. Now you have this new settlement that has figured out how to filter, not just filter the water that comes down off their tree, but they can figure out, in addition to that, they have also figured out how to safely make a filter that will take any water that anybody collects and filter it. So they've got a thing all set up where it's all automated and they can get a bunch of water, but anybody could take this stuff if they figured out how to make charcoal or could get their hands on charcoal, and they could take any gathered up water and run it through this and get clean water that they're not relying on this for. So and it's only a day's travel away from Port Ames. And one day, everybody in the city's interrupted in the middle of whatever they're doing, and they've all been gathered together and killed in the middle of the city.
Oh, so it started one of the newer Star Wars movies style where they just gather everyone up and like bam, 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 bam. Kylo Ren walks out.
They weren't all shot, but they were all killed. I'm not going to get into details because it's TV-14 and you aren't. So
I'm 21.
You're 11. Dude.
You're a liar.
You are 11.
I'm 21. I specialized in lying. Anyway, all right. So
I'm 11 and you're younger than I.
suddenly, as a weird coincidence, this town that can also produce pure water, only a day's way from Port Ames, everybody's gathered up, everybody's killed, and the building where this can happen is damaged beyond the point where it can be used. So, since thinking about all this, thinking about this motivation, Coswell Ames is the kind of person that will wipe out an entire settlement to protect his monopoly on the water. And you have to think what he is going to be willing to do to try to get that water hauler. And I will leave you with that thought percolating in the back of your brain pans until next time.
Do guns exist in this world? Just a
Yeah.
minor question.
Absolutely.
Does he have rifles?
Yes. Well, I mean, guns exist in this world. It's one of honestly, it's one of the playbook.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. How they different guns use different, like gunpowder itself, because it is flame based, is not used very often. But there's other ways of making like propellant and stuff that's powerful enough to shoot shells. Yes. In fact, that exists today. There's what they call chemically propelled rounds, and the bullets themselves don't have a shell on the back with all the gunpowder and stuff in it. So the bullet gets put up into the chamber, and then they have these two chemicals that react very, very violently when they're introduced into the same space together, and they inject these two chemicals into the space right behind the shell, and they expand super fast, and it shoots the shells out the front. So basically the two things that you have to worry about is the drum of ammunition, but also the two little canisters that hold the chemicals that shoot it up into the back of it. And there's rifles that are designed that way that people use in modern militaries today. They what people say is it gives off a very distinctive smell because the chemicals themselves leave a very distinctive stink in the air. But that kind of chemical propellant and stuff like that is used, and there's other things. Also crossbows and arrows and stuff like that too. But yeah. As a show of power, Ames might have used guns to execute everybody in this town, possibly, because guns are rare, and the ability to and the willingness to use that much firepower for something like that.
His name is Cute Frog.
It should never. His name is. Don't open this. No.
Okay.
Don't open his brain.
Zoe. No. All right. Anyway, so that's the deal. Sorry if that's gruesome. Don't tell on me to your parents. I mean, I tell you an entire town's been murdered. It's kind of gruesome, but
my mom's like, Jurassic Park is way too dark for you, and I'm like, I've watched Star Wars. Try me.
Try me, bro.
If you watch Rogue One, nothing that I come up with is going to be any worse than Rogue One, because Rogue One is.
Yeah, I watched that movie that made both me and Sean cry when he got like
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Not to be confused with me, who is Shaun of the Alive.
All right. With that, we're going to stop here. And next time, you guys get to go to Port Ames and give
A detailed report about
give Coswell Ames bad news. He'll be fine. He reacts to bad news very reasonably.
By killing your
says
family.
the dead corpses on the island.
This is, first of all, this is not a lighter. This is just a stamp for geocaching.
There.
Yeah,
A
yes.
fiery stamp.
I want to
Require